What if I told you that a single word could have a different meaning to every single person in this room? And that word is compassion. Just think of a person, an image of a couple in love, something more ephemeral such as an emotion or a feeling. To me, the image of a lifesaver on a boat comes to mind. Now, I'm not Willy Wonka, as is apparent by the face full of fur, lack of a top hat, and absence of Oompa Loompas on stage with me, so I'm not going to sugarcoat the journey we're about to embark on. So if you're all amenable, please take out the time turners you received at the doors, spin them back a few times, and let's rewind the clock. 7 years. At the age of 20, I was drowning in the midst of a major depressive episode which manifested itself in the form of lies told to me by demons in my head. On a daily basis, these demons would tell me that I was a piece of shit, unworthy of love, compassion, friendship, or connection in any way. Ultimately, they broke me down until I was a shell of the human being I once was, feeling incapable of compassion, believing no one loved me, and planning my own death for months. A knife across the wrist, a swan dive off a tall building, jumping in front of a train or car, blowing my brains out, slitting my throat, asphyxia, hanging myself. No. None of those appealed to my tortured soul. When I stopped planning, I decided drugs would be my method of suicide. While not relatively quick, it'd be relatively painless with the added bonus of the high beforehand. It would leave little mess for others to clean up after me, and they were so very easy to get on a university campus. And while all these thoughts were swimming through my head, no one I lived with, worked with, or went to school with were any the wiser. To the untrained eye, I looked like a stressed college student wanting to get his work done alone. And the only two people who knew every detail as I planned my own death were over 500 miles away. And I shared this information with them because I felt like if or when I decided to complete the act, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Those two people were my best friends, Corey and Katie. Now, the decision to take one's own life isn't one that's easy to make, even for someone who is in my position. So Corey and Katie kept up a barrage of understanding, compassion, and sometimes pleading for me with 6 months. Now, when do you think someone makes the final decision to take their own life? A few weeks beforehand? A few days? Within 24 hours? Those of you who chose within 24 hours would probably be the most correct. Suicide tends to be an impulsive act with premeditation and occurs due to a trigger or an event in someone's life that shatters them completely, so they no longer recognize who they are, leading them to complete the act of suicide. So earlier, when I said I stopped planning, I was a mere trigger or an event away from not being on this stage to share my story with you. And the only reason I'm here today is because of a gossamer thread of compassion that I was holding on to for dear life. Because despite what those demons were telling me, I didn't actually want to die. And that thread came in the form of the two amazing people sitting here in the audience with you tonight, Corey and Katie. Ultimately, I spent most of 2013 in the midst of that major depressive episode. Until my winter break that year when I got to see Corey and Katie for the first time in months. And they got me to laugh for the first time in what felt like forever. Now, when I say laugh, I don't mean a giggle or a chuckle. I mean one of those big, deep belly laughs. You all know the kind. The kind that makes your body shake, your eyes crinkle, your face hurts from smiling. It's the kind of laugh asthmatics like me are afraid of. Corey and Katie got me to have one of those laughs where I was crying and laughing like a 5-year-old school child. And yes, you all heard that correctly. A 6-foot, 220-pound man with a face full of beard laughs like a 5-year-old school child when true belly laughing. There is video evidence. And this gift of true laughter allowed me to break that shell of depression I was in for a mere moment. But a moment that has forever been burned into my memory. It was an out-of-body experience where the laughing, jolly, smiling Cody looked down an unfathomable well at the broken, shattered, fragmented Cody. I felt like every day of my life. The same Cody who felt incapable of compassion, believed no one surrounding him loved him, and would plan his own death for months. And in that mere moment, looking down in that well, I realized that it was unsustainable to live down there and that I couldn't get out on my own. So down the yellow brick road to therapy I went, and my therapist, Mary, quickly realized the rat's nest of thoughts going on in my head and the major self-esteem issues I had. Each session was excruciating. It felt like I was trying to crawl up a muddy slope, and every mistake or misjudgment I made, I would slip right back down to the bottom. But after several sessions, if I slipped, it wouldn't be to the bottom. So slowly, I was getting better. And this all jump-started from an exercise Mary had me complete when I first started seeing her. She gave me a week to compile a list of 10 things or characteristics that I liked about myself. Then she told me to ask at least 2 other people close to me in my life to compile a similar list about me. Now, Corey and Katie were a no-brainer. They had helped me get to this point, but I've always been close to my parents and my sister, so I asked them to complete a list as well. Now, within 48 hours, I received 4 massive lists back from all of them, but my list took considerably longer. There's 168 hours in a week, and mine took about 167 hours and 55 minutes, because I shit you not, I was trying to think of 2 more things that I liked about myself while waiting for my next appointment with Mary. Now, I have those lists with me today, and all of my points read something like these. I like how I'm a helper. I like how I'm a good listener. I like how I try my hardest against all odds. All relatively simple and to the point. But from my friends and family, I got detailed explanations such as these. You have this awesome ability and desire to protect everyone you care about. Guy, girl, friend, family, random guy in the street you just met but you think is kind of nice, it doesn't matter. Not to make a comparison, but if our other friends were regular citizens of Metropolis, you'd be Superman. You're an extremely loyal and loving person. You prioritize your friends and family and will bend over backwards to help if you can. You give good hugs. Now, that might seem trivial to most, but when we hug, it feels like the way 2 brothers would greet each other, and that kind of connection means a lot to me. And I had to share this one with you all just to prove my earlier point. Finally making the list, it had to be on here somewhere. It's your laugh. It's just one of those things that makes you unique. It's multiple octave range and extremely contagious tendencies. So obviously, I just need to walk around laughing and giving hugs, right? A new type of Superman. But all joking aside, that exercise floored me for 2 reasons. Number 1, it showed me that those surrounding me in my life loved me and had compassion for what I was going through. Number 2, it proved to me that I was still full, capable, and worthy of compassion. Compassion saved my life and put me on the path to recovery. To wrap up, I'd like to shamelessly plug a quote Brene Brown loves from Teddy Roosevelt. "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place is never with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." And while I do love this quote, I have a qualm with it. Because you see, in my experience, when we're in the arena of life daring greatly daily, sometimes it doesn't feel like we're down here. Sometimes it feels like we're in the nosebleed section of the arena watching a diminutive figure being pummeled on a daily basis by a gargantuan monster. When in reality, that's you down there tackling beast upon beast. And this all wraps back to therapy with Mary, where she told me to put my life into perspective. So the next time you're fighting that lion, ogre, shitty boss, what have it, take a step back and look at how many foes you've defeated before this one. How many small steps you've taken to get to this amazing point in your life. Because many steps are taken to walk 1 mile. As an advocate for mental health, I make sure to always give my ear to those who need it. I open a space for people to share without judgment, because compassion will breed compassion. And I make it a goal to always show people how truly amazing they are, because I'm a firm believer that every single person in this world is capable of amazing feats. But sometimes they need someone in their corner to spread all the love and compassion in their life. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be the sole reason someone gets better, and for that matter, nor will any of you. But that doesn't mean that we can't be another supporter in their camp on their road to recovery, just as my parents and my sister, Corey and Katie, were in mine. So the next time you see someone in this arena of life and they look like they can't take another hit, sit down, open a space for them, and listen. Give them a list of 10 things or characteristics, 5, maybe just 2, that you love about them as a person. And show them what truly amazing warriors they are in this arena of life. And let's make love and compassion a little bit more present in our world. Namaste.